Well, talking about collaborating, I want to make sure we have enough time for questions. So I wanted to open up to the floor. If there are any questions for any of our panelists today, anything we've been covering. So it looks like we've got one in the back there.
Yeah, a question about failover and resiliency. As we move to this kind of software-driven, programmable world in networking, failover and resiliency have been tied to hardware. Now we move to the software world. How do you define 5 nines in a hypervisor?
I can say that's a great question, actually. Of course, you're right. I mean, you're not deploying classic telecom hardware anymore. Therefore, there's no 5 nines hardware resiliency. You've got to build the resiliency into the application or the service itself. And of course, that's exactly what the standardization bodies like ETSI are working on right now. It's how you deliver network functions virtualization with that overlay SDN control that delivers a pool of resources, and again, those pool of resources are one function that are either scaled up, scaled back, spun up on demand as the traffic dictates, or as you say, in need of resiliency requirements. So you build the redundancy and resiliency into the overall application itself, and it's very doable. I mean, we've tested ourselves, again, going back to Clearwater, where we've actually tested the failover capabilities of a voice service, where we've had 2 different instances of the application spun up, one on the East Coast of the US, one in Ireland. It was in Amazon Web Services, EC2, and just using basic DNS, you can provide a pretty good layer of resiliency, i.e. we basically tore down one set of virtual machines and then just sat and watched the service fail over essentially to the data center that was still up and active. So again, using basic AWS DNS. So if you think about the ability to add, again, more complex resource pooling capabilities in there, certainly the standardization bodies are expecting that to be very doable.
To your direct question, I mean, the fact of actually measuring is still exactly the same. The service has got to be up and running, but the underlying architectures that deliver it have to evolve. So I think
and I can tell you that hits directly to Snap. Why I started what we have. It's kind of like, I'll go back to my highway. You only got one highway. We're all from a major city. I'm from downtown Atlanta, so 75 and 85 always got traffic. So in your world, that's the hardware. And you're saying, what kind of resiliency? That's what I'm providing, or want to provide from Snap in the SDN type world, is all these multiple routes. Not to mention, if you have something that fails, you have to get somebody to come fix it. This way, you have control, and you can say, I don't like route A, I'm going to go to route B, route C, or you can do it actually in a VLAN, software defined, where it does it automatically, or you can have them paralleled up. If you lose one, you never know. So I thank you for that question, because I got to plug in for Snap. But that's what we want. The resiliency of the software-defined VLAN cloud is infinitesimal opposed to a piece of hardware that can break any day.
I'll add to that as well, to the question. It's interesting with the paradigm, whether you're looking at carriers and service providers or just individual people. We're all conflicted, right? We all live a Jekyll and Hyde moment almost every day. And as we're rushing towards SDN, trying to understand it and absorb it and whatever, we can't forget about the physical layer. All this protection at layer 7 doesn't work if you don't have layer 1. If you can't get the fiber into the data center, there's no data center. It's just a big box with a lot of generators and cooling and whatnot. And if you only have fiber in one way and it gets cut, what good is all the intelligence that's inside, right? Right, Alex? Are we not dealing with this right now? We're dealing with this in Boca right now between Allied Fiber and Equinix. Multiple paths in and out. So what does it cause? It causes people that are focusing on all this software-defined application development to also become aware of and educated about the physical layer. You have to also know that there have to be multiple physical paths, and what path are you on? So to Tim's point, I want to pick another route. Great. Is it physically diverse from the route that I'm on or not? And I always used to say this to people, that they say that we have diversity, we have carrier diversity. You know, we use 5 different carriers to serve that building. And I said, you have billing diversity, because there's only one fiber provider through one POE and one manhole, and 4 of them type to the same guy that's got the one path. And they're like, what are you talking about? Like, you get different bills in the mail, but when the fiber gets cut, all 5 go down. They're like, yeah, that's impossible. Then they go down. So how do you figure that out? So we started the biggest macro of all macro levels and look at the whole earth, and we look at the carrier hotels, we look at the submarine cable system, landing points, and build the fiber routes between them so that everybody can have their own individual lane, but we provide the maps, KMZ files, actual maps that show people where this stuff physically is. It's not some mystery behind the curtain. The only way SDN is going to have 5 nines to anybody in a contract is if the network builder, which is by and large becoming more enterprise, actually knows the physical path.
How many backhoes worth of resistance do you have?
Correct. And that's been a mystery for people because everybody's been clouded by the internet for so long. We just use the internet. Well, the internet, I don't have any internet. The internet's down. Whether it's mobile or fixed, it doesn't make a difference. If you don't know the physical layer, nothing can be, counted on.